Welcoming, people of Earth. This episode is brought to you by WeThePeopleOfEarth.biz. When I first imagineered 7 years ago, in 2005, what lies beyond Google, what lies beyond their business plan, what lies beyond do no evil is do good. What lies beyond Google is profits to the people. I imagined Google, when you clicked on an ad and they made $1, you made 33 cents of that buck. But you didn't get it back in cash, you got it back in stock in the enterprise of the Google that would Google out the world. Later on, and this is the topic of today, I imagineered the future of technology and what lies beyond Google Earth and what lies beyond YouTube. What lies beyond Google Earth is a real-time Google Earth. Imagine the entire world captured in real time as a movie. Imagine everything in the world captured as a movie, which you could travel in across space and time. So let's explain how one would accomplish this from a technology standpoint. And I've alluded to it before, but I haven't really described it herein, what I imagine and possibly invented back in 2005. First, imagine not only the sort of occasional images that Google feeds into Google Earth today, but more like real-time images coming from the best of our military satellites, feeding this single, big, giant replica of the planet in motion. Now, that might not capture in and of itself all the details on the streets and the roads. So, imagine your streets cameras were networked together and feeding this virtual reality replica of reality on Earth. And then we talked about it before, and this is an important part of the paradigm, iPhones, the future beyond the cell phone, where you could wear these and travel in 3 dimensions and travel into this virtual space. And that's very important because this becomes your gateway to anywhere in the planet. And later on, we won't get into that now, to the planets beyond, to Mars, because our photographs on Mars allow you to explore there. But let's just stay here on Earth for now. But here's the other thing. Each one of these has cameras, maybe like collecting 3D information around you and about you and putting that back into the server. Now, one of the problems with all of this real time is that, well, if you do it as just a movie, it is a lot of updating and stuff like that. But if you treat it more as a virtual reality game, and you only update those things that need updating, for example, the Earth and the buildings change only very well. You don't even, I don't even think Google today, even, I don't know how often they update their databases of what changes, but it's certainly not as often as we might do in this future, where the updates might occur only once every few hours or so. But that's on the baseline. But the real-time updates can occur like in real time. We can capture the real time of people walking in the streets and capturing that. Now, what happens about the people traveling in virtual space? How do we travel to people in virtual space efficiently? And that's where it gets interesting. Because rather than traveling my bits all in virtual space, I can travel myself as an object and re-represent myself in space, allowing me not to send all those bits over the air wireless. We are going to have wireless connections to all of this, and it allows me to not all of those send those bits, because I can treat this replica of the Earth more as a virtual reality game. I think that's one of the innovations that if somebody hasn't invented, I invented in 2005. Now, and I included it in my story, but, by the way, this radioactive mind decided way back when he began to invent that everything he invented, he chose not to choose and follow your patent approaches. Back then it was first to invent, you want to change the laws, but you want to change the laws to deprive the people, because I took all of my inventions and put it in the private public domain of me, and that private public domain of me is a public to private domain of you, which means my inventions were all dedicated to all of the people of Earth. I don't care if their value, what their value is. They could be trillions. The people of Earth get those trillions. Isn't that the right thing to do it? What if people got together and said, listen, I'm going to work together with other people, but my inventions, well, I'll take a fair share, and I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for nothing here, but I'll take a fair share, and I'll pass those inventions on to others, because it's the future of Earth, and that's our mission. But let's put that aside for now. That's what I did to try to recruit the Google guys and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs to my enterprise to create what lies beyond Google Earth. But let's go back to what lies beyond Google Earth. So imagine with these iPhones, see, I can travel any place. I could travel to a sports event right now. I could be watching football in any stadium in the best seats in the house. I could have my friends there in the best seats in the house with their own iPhones traveling there. It could be a concert. I could go and travel to Harvard and see an educational lecture. I could travel to any educational institute in the planet. Actually, I could actually travel and virtually travel and inter-exchange and have meetings with educators. We could meet with across corporations. We could meet across nations. People could meet, and we could meet in massive quantities. See, to FaceTime allows you a few flat screens. Imagine real-time people bringing their virtual avatars together across the world, traveling space and time to one place. You could go to Tiananmen Square. You could participate or not or watch the demonstrations in the Middle East. You could go anywhere at any time, and this presents a lot of interesting. But let's talk about the opportunities for making money. You have the problem with these small cell phones is your screen space is so small. Now, even though the screen space of iPhones is quite small, because of the perspective, the screen space of iPhones is as infinite as your vision, and it allows you to put balloons in space, to take this reality replica of Earth in virtual reality and place ads all over it. You want to know how to make money selling Facebook FaceTime. Well, this is real-time Facebook FaceTime with real-time people, but it's also a different business paradigm because the people must get the profits of their own activity. Yes, if there are profits to be made in this domain, the people are part of the monopoly. And we'll get back to the sort of economics of this, because this Google Earth, what lies beyond Earth, is a natural monopoly that crosses enterprise and business and crosses government. It, well, see, imagine this whole Google Earth then gets connected then into your shopping paradigm, and that ties into, well, maybe we eliminate credit cards and go to virtual money, and maybe we'll eliminate the banks as you know them, at least from the standpoint, and cash as you know it, and go towards virtual money. That then crosses lots of your paradigms that we'll get into much later. But let's think about it. We've talked about the education aspects. Now, see, when will this happen? Oh, one of the other things about that is your paradigm of computers. While you may still put flat screens of information in front of your eyes, what might be much more interesting is deliver information in visual images of people. Well, why not have Albert Einstein here to explain the theory of relativity, or have Steve Jobs here to explain the future of computing as we know it. That's it. And by the way, whenever you see it in my writing, or I say it, that means IT. IT. Information technology. IT is both our weapon of mass destruction and disintermediation. Say that again, disintermediation. And IT is our weapon of salvation. But see, there are some privacy and security concerns in here, and those must be dealt with beyond the domain of any single nation's laws. For a simple example, as virtual people are allowed to randomly access virtual space, we must insert that virtual crime is not committed in our virtual heaven. We must have rules that virtual users abide by. We must, well, in a virtual sense, it would make sense to separate without prior authorization children without prior authorization from adults. So you have all kinds of complicated things. But we have interesting other paradigms you could have. For example, you could see reality as you wanted to see it. It would be there as it really was. But if you wanted to change your reality for your own social paradigm, you could. Like if you came into the streets of Los Angeles or the beaches of Los Angeles, and you were a devout Muslim, and you didn't want to see all those scantily clad American women running around without veils on their bodies or faces. Well, it is very, very simple for your computer program agent to automatically put veils on their faces for you. But I'm just playing with you there. But it's important because, yes, you could filter out information that you chose not to see. And if you're a parent, you could filter out information that you chose for your children not to see. And, well, of course, if you're a parent, if you're anybody, and all of the knowledge and all of the information of the planet becomes available to all of the people on the planet, it changes the economics of all of the knowledge of all of the people on the planet. It changes the economics of people. It changes the economics of politics. It changes the power of politics. Because in the stress between capitalist enterprise and the crony, corrupt capitalist practice today, and the aftermath of that creation, which within it has its own beauties of strong best practices, but it also has its own bad practices. But so with state capitalists, or even more with autocracies and corrupt regimes, which in this state must be taken out, because in this state where the people become the owners of Earth together with the leaders, co-owners with all people, then in this new state of our nations under one currency, which I called rainbow stars, because stars are infinite, and imagine this, with the bank of the assets of the world behind it, how much money could we print? Could we print what half the world lives on for every day of the year, $2 a day? Could we print $2 a day and provide that to half of the world? Just $2 a day? Could we print that in a world we own together? But it's not the money that we print that matters. It's the products and services that deliver. It's the food and the housing. And it's the environment to advance our state of knowledge and learning, because the more we put into our information technology, the more our computer allows us to compute further. Hello, Hal. Hello, Watson. Can you hear me now? This was brought to you by We the People of Earth. Peace be among you.